Well, good morning. Today we ring down the calendar on March and tomorrow head into the month of April showers. At least there will be rain showers somewhere in the country. April is also the month when students at colleges and universities start to look forward to the end of another school year. At Michigan Technological University, this is the year they welcomed a new president, and we're going to talk with him right now.
From TV6, this is The Ryan Report. Here's your host, Don Ryan.
Well, Dr. Richard Kobeck became Michigan Technological University's 10th president in July of last year, after 30 years of higher education experience, both in the classroom and as an administrator. He came to Michigan Tech from Louisiana State University, where he was serving as executive vice president and provost, after prior service as dean of the LSU College of Engineering. Previously, he served as head of Pennsylvania State University's Department of Industrial and Manufacturing and Engineering, chair of the Department of Biomedical, Industrial, and Human Factors Engineering at Wright State University, and associate dean of research and graduate studies in Wright State's College of Engineering and Computer Science. A pleasure to welcome President Kobeck to TV6 and The Ryan Report. Nice to have you with us.
Thank you, Don. Glad to be here.
A little housekeeping, first of all. We have some mugs in front of us, and it's a little unusual this week because we're in a mug exchange with Meet the Press and Chuck Todd.
Excellent.
And so normally our mugs say TV6. This week they say Meet the Press. And
all right.
We're glad to have them with us. You know, let's start off by giving our audience a chance to get to know you a little better. Where did life begin for Richard Kobeck?
So, Berwyn, Illinois.
Berwyn, Illinois.
But spent about half of my life in Farmington Hills, Michigan.
Okay.
And then moved to Northern Illinois, went to high school there, and kind of grew up in the Chicago area.
Okay. You was there anything at a young age that told us you were going to be a scientist or a teacher or an administrator?
No, actually, I have a pretty varied educational background. It took me a while to find out that I was going to end up in engineering.
Okay.
You know.
I noticed in looking at your biographical resume, you received a bachelor's degree in biblical literature at Oral Roberts University. Did you have a different career path in mind at that point?
Well, so that's the varied background, right? So I knew I wanted to work with people, and I started down that path. So I did do a degree in biblical literature and then got a second bachelor's degree in psychology.
Okay.
But I found that although I really enjoyed the humanities and working with the people piece, that my skill set was more oriented toward the technology piece and the math and the science. So I was trying to think about how could I combine those two, and industrial engineering ended up being the right fit. That's where I went to Purdue.
Okay. You really spent much of your life in the Midwest then.
Yes.
Although you've come in here now with some time down south.
Right.
What brought you to be here in the northern part of Michigan?
So as you said, I grew up in Illinois, spent time at Penn State before heading down south. When I was graduating with my PhD at Purdue, several of my friends were having an opportunity to get job offers in Houghton, Michigan, as an engineering college, right? And I was pretty envious of them, Don, that they were getting to move to the UP and I was staying in the Midwest. And so when the opportunity arose to finally come and join the UP, I jumped at the chance.
And it's a big question, of course, that you left a job that was a very good job to come here. What really enticed you to come to Michigan Tech? What opportunities did you see here?
So, two things. And both are about change, right? So the higher education landscape is changing, as you know. I mean, you understand the state funding models and the like, and the competition, and you see lots of schools. And so Michigan Tech is unique in that it has a nice focus to it, an important focus, and it's crystal clear in its mission statement. It serves the needs of industry and the community. That's that's part number one. And then part number two is that it has all the right pieces to be a leader as the nation moves into the fourth industrial revolution. And so I wanted to be a part of that at Michigan Tech.
And clearly your approach has not been to move in and make sweeping changes. How have you spent the first 8 or 9 months on the job?
So, no, not sweeping changes, but continual advance, right? I mean, things are changing pretty fast now. And so Glenn Moratz, my predecessor, did a great job positioning the university. But we have to think deeply about where we need to be under this fourth industrial revolution with such rapid technological change. And so my time in the last 9 months has been listening and then helping to coalesce the ideas that are emanating from the faculty and the alumni and the students on where our university needs to be to really be a premier technological university in the next 20 to 30 years. It's very exciting.
Have you begun to develop now some vision for the future of Michigan
Yes,
Tech?
for sure. Yeah. So, like I said, one of the unique parts about our institution is that it's Michigan Technological University. It's not named Institute of Technology. And this is a really important difference for us because we care about the situatedness of the technology, both on the environment and the socio-political and the human applications of technology. We have a center of focus, which is technology, but care a lot about the implications. And I think that's the ticket to being a grand, great, internationally recognized technological university moving forward.
I know I was reading on your website, and this is really what you're talking about now. You said Michigan Tech is a technological university in its finest sense, where it is a leader in technology for sure, but also in the implications of technology on our environment, our society, and our humanity. I guess to me that means technology is not an end in itself, but a means to something else, isn't it?
Right, you don't think much about the technology in your iPhone or the speed of the processor in your computer anymore. You're thinking more about what it can do to help you. And so you see technology as ubiquitous now. So the important part in developing technology is to think about how it's going to be used and what are going to be the impacts. We have the humanities faculty and the science faculty and the engineering faculty that can think of those problems holistically. And there's not a lot of schools that are situated our size that can do that.
It's unfair, I know, but you know, a lot of people might stereotype an engineer as someone who's interested in a slide rule or something, and that's about it.
We accept that.
But there is a very human side to everything they're doing, isn't there?
Absolutely, and that's what's so exciting about Michigan Tech, is that we have people that are focused on the technology component, but they can be in humanities, like I said, or sociology, or the arts, and certainly in engineering. So everybody is rallied around the center of gravity, but they look at it from multiple perspectives. And that's the sort of conversations that happen between our humanities faculty and our engineering faculty every day that the students get to hear and be a part of to prepare them for the future workforce.
I know you have a program called Tech Forward, which is considering many aspects of the university. Tell us what it is, and is it working?
Sure. So we have a grand aspiration as an institution, which is that we want to be the premier technological university, not just in the US, but internationally, and have it right here in the UP, okay?
Right.
So the question we have to ask ourselves is, first of all, what do we want to focus on, but also what we're not going to focus on? And that was the purpose of Tech Forward, to have a strong campus conversation, again, with the faculty and the staff and the students and the alumni, and certainly the Board of Trustees, to determine what are going to be those key areas of focus that we have a comparative advantage for. So, freshwater in the Great Lakes, right? Environment and sustainability. Healthcare, but particularly related to rural autonomous vehicles and unstructured environments. The socio-political applications and implications of technology. These are areas that, because of where we live and who we are, we're uniquely positioned to lead nationally and internationally. So Tech Forward was the effort on behalf of the whole campus community to come up with that list.
Okay. We'll talk more about that in just a couple of minutes. Back with more on the Ryan Report after we take this break. Again, our guest this morning is Dr. Richard Kobeck, who is the president of Michigan Tech, in the middle of his first year, I guess we could say. Yep. We were talking about the Tech Forward project, and I think it's important that people understand that's kind of the way universities have to work, isn't it? A president can't just come in and say, we're going to do this. I mean, you really need the team behind you to make things work.
Right, well, that's one of the things that drew me to Michigan Tech, is that we have this great intellectual capital among our faculty and our staff and the alumni. And my job right now is to try and harness that and certainly paint the aspirational goal that the board and I both shared, and help motivate that into an action plan. And that's what we've come up with in the Tech Forward initiative.
I noticed the strategic plan, or the mission that was outlined for Tech, is a few years old. Is that going to be adequate, or will you have to relook at that at some point as well?
Well, we should relook at that every 2 to 3 years just to keep it updated. But in my opinion, we'll probably grow beyond what that 2045 plan indicated.
Okay.
I think the opportunity for us is there.
Are there some particular areas that you're now seeing where you want to continue to move tech forward?
Yes, so 3 areas right now that you're seeing us put our shoulder behind. The first is with regard to healthcare engineering. So again, if you think about the situatedness of technology, we don't intend to have a medical school at Michigan Tech. That's not the intent. But we do a lot of research in engineering and technology that have health and outcome implications. And so that's an area that you'll see us continue to grow. And the state just approved planning authorization for our new HSTEM, Health STEM, building, and we're starting on the plans on that with partnership of Portage Health Foundation.
Okay.
So that's one area you'll see grow. You'll probably see an increase in emphasis on growing our business college. You'll see a change and advancement in how we educate undergraduate students, not just so they have the knowledge, skills, and abilities, and ability to work in teams that companies want, but the next generation of skills, which is that the students can live in an environment of continual change. So you'll see some of that coming to the forefront. And probably the most demonstrative is going to be the establishment of a new college at Michigan Tech, and that is a College of Computing. And we're very close to finishing the planning for that and hope to bring it to our Board of Trustees for their approval in the May meeting.
Are there some areas that are going to kind of fall by the wayside, maybe that have been traditional parts of the Michigan Tech curriculum?
So I think what you see is a continual evolution and adaptation. So while nothing necessarily falls off the table, it continues to grow and advance. So, for example, we have a great School of Technology. We're very excited about the faculty in the School of Technology, but that is evolving to be part of the College of Computing. So the elements and the degree programs in the School of Technology remain strong, but it's housed in an administrative unit and partnered with others to continue to grow.
Certainly, one of the questions I would have is, as technology continues to evolve so rapidly, how does a school like Michigan Tech or any school stay current, and be able to meet the challenges that today offers?
So one of our comparative advantages, in my opinion, of this institution is the tight relationship with industry. And so we have strong advisory boards in each of our academic units. We have a great board of trustees that helps to keep us oriented in the right direction. So we keep a very tight feedback loop on what's happening out with the, where the employers are and where our students are going to be placed to be sure that we're having the most contemporary curriculum for them.
And when you talk about that relationship, certainly your alumni group contributes to that, and probably the fact that you're providing many of these companies with the employees they need for the future. That must be very important to them too.
A remarkable statistic for me about Michigan Tech is that about 95% of the students have jobs that they want after the first 6 months. And I can tell you, if you look nationally, that's a remarkable statistic, which tells us that the students are doing a great job and companies are coming back to hire them.
And you also have a high graduation rate, I believe, as well.
Yep, the graduation rate is about 12 points higher than the national average, and we can continue to help to see that increase. There is no limit to where we want to see that go. Student success is a key fundamental piece of our path moving forward, as it has been in the past.
Okay. Got some more questions for you. We'll get to those in just 2 minutes after we take this break. Again, we're talking with Michigan Tech President Richard Kobeck. Certainly one of the keys to any university being successful is the faculty, and I know that's an area that Michigan Tech has typically taken a great deal of pride in. And have you noticed that as you've had a chance to see what Michigan Tech offers? I
have, and that again was one of the elements that drew me to be part of Michigan Tech. So we're a research institution, that's a focus, and so for faculty to be a good faculty member at Michigan Tech, of course you have to have a long list of publications and lots of research accomplishments. But what I notice is 2 other pieces about the Michigan Tech faculty. The second is that although they're great researchers, they also have a strong heart to the student's success. And sometimes people think those are 2 incompatible pieces. Do you care about research or you care about students? At Michigan Tech, the answer is yes to both questions. But a third piece that I've noticed through the Tech Forward conversations is that in addition to that, they also think a lot about the greater good of the institution and the community in a way that is, probably a bit unique in higher education in some places nowadays. So it's a very special group of people that make Michigan Tech who it is.
Yeah, I mentioned you found your way here to the northernmost part of Michigan. Some would consider us, especially as you get up in the Copper Country, to be isolated, but aren't there some advantages to that?
Well,
Community?
the community is an important piece of who we are. And so what strikes me, as I say sometimes, I'm an outsider that's on the inside. I'm losing that now.
Right.
But the university is really shaped by the community and the situatedness in which it is, as much as the community is influenced by who the university is.
Right, the university is obviously a very key factor in that community. Where LSU, it's important, I'm sure, but not as large on the scene.
Right.
I'm going to be interviewing Dr. Nathan Grah, who has written a book on demographics that really paints kind of a bleak picture for higher education as far as the availability of students, especially in the Midwest. Have you had a chance to look at that book or to at least study parts of it?
Yes, I read it before I came.
Okay.
So I knew what the projections are, and I know what he'll probably say about the state of Michigan and Wisconsin and Illinois when you interview him in a week or so.
Is Michigan Tech going to be able to deal with that? Which it really says that the number of students available to go to college is going to get smaller in the Midwest.
So for every challenge, it's an opportunity. And you can look at it as Michigan Tech fulfilling its responsibility to the state, in that we have an opportunity to draw people from other areas of the country to come study at Michigan Tech, and then hopefully go to work for the industries that need that talent base here in our state. So we're looking to be part of the solution with regard to drawing people in from around the entire United States and bring them to Michigan and understand what a great place this is, because the employers at the end of the day will need to have the talented workforce. That could be an issue. We're going to help solve that problem for them.
And of course, you recruit well beyond the Midwest, throughout the country and even throughout the world.
Yes.
Are there some advantages to Tech to being able to bring in those students from other countries?
Sure. Over the last 5 years, we're one of the 3 institutions in the state, public institutions of the state, that actually have an increase in enrollment, and we continue to see that success. But again, it's about preparing our students to be competitive in that next 4th industrial revolution that they're entering, such that students will be, wanting to come here because of the value of the degree.
I have to ask you, have you become a hockey fan, or were you a hockey fan to start with?
So somewhat of a hockey fan, spending time in Farmington Hills, Michigan, and then of course Chicago with the Blackhawks. But collegiate hockey at Division I is quite exciting. It's quite exciting.
What do you think of the value of athletics on a college campus today? Obviously at LSU it was huge.
Yeah, so what you find oftentimes is that the athletes, especially like in this D2 school, the athletes are a group of students like an honors college, where the university invests particular resources to help them grow and develop attributes that help them become leaders. And so from our perspective, the athletics program and the athletes are like catalysts within the entire university to help us all get better. And we're fortunate to have a great athletic director that has strong sense of values and what the role of athletics is at Suzanne Sittagret at our university.
Have you become comfortable with the educational group in Michigan? Have you got to know some of your other college
Yes, we have a great group of universities here in the UP. And what I so much enjoy is that each of us play a role in the network of higher education. Our friends at Lake State, or at Bay College, or Gogebic, or at Northern, or now at Michigan Tech. We each have a particular part of the profile for higher ed that we play for the citizens of the UP, and we work together to fulfill that mission together.
We only have about a half a minute left. What about politically in Michigan? Have you become familiar with how that system works?
Yes, I'm becoming familiar with how that system works. Of course, with the administration change, the system changes quickly. Right. But my conversations with our legislatures have seemed to indicate support for higher ed in a very positive way.
Okay. Well, it's been a great pleasure getting to know you. I have a lot more questions, but unfortunately not enough time. So hope to have you back again sometime soon.
Thank you, Don.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'll be back with some other thoughts for you in just a couple of minutes. Well, I was in a store the other day when another customer said to me, "Excuse me, sir, but there's music coming from your pants." I didn't mean to bother you, but I just wondered what that song is. I was a little taken back, but quickly realized I had accidentally started playing music on my cell phone. Not the first time something like that had happened. I don't recall what the song was, but we've figured it out. You know, today when we hear the term new technology, we might think about artificial intelligence and self-driving cars, but the fact is technology that wasn't there a few years ago is all around us today. It used to be when we wanted to figure out some obscure fact, we had to head for the encyclopedia at the public library. Now we can pull our cell phone out of our pocket and begin an internet search. Recently we went through the semi-annual time change, a ritual that's become a lot easier as we rely on our phones, computers, and other digital clocks that automatically change the time on their own. We start up our cars and the headlights come on. We can verbally tell it what radio station we want to hear. And if we're not careful, it can tell us we're about to back into something. Technology at work. So when the name of your school is Michigan Technological University, it's clear you have taken a lot on your plate. When it was first established in Houghton in 1885, it had a much simpler mandate. It began as the Michigan Mining School and was established by the state of Michigan to train mining engineers to better operate the local copper mines. It started with 4 faculty members and 23 students. Michigan Tech has been reinventing itself ever since, and it's clear with the rapid growth of technology, its mission will be constantly expanding. The only question is whether you and I can keep pace. If not, you may find yourself standing in a store one day and having someone point out that you have music coming from your pants. I'll be back in a minute. Time for us to wrap it up for another week. The Today Show is coming up next. Remember, if you want to see a replay of the show, it's available at uppermichigansource.com. Today's show will be available starting tomorrow afternoon. Thanks to MTU President Kobach for joining us today. It was good to get to know him and to hear his thoughts on the school's future. And thank you for being here. Let's get together again next Sunday morning.